Hey everybody.
Hello, I'm Ryan.
I'm Bethany.
And we are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
And today we'll be talking about The Adventures of Robin Hood. This is designed by Michael Menzel and it is published by Cosmos.
All right, this is a campaign-style game. You have this big board with all these kind of like little puzzle pieces, things that you're able to kind of pop out, flip, and reveal new information. You also have this large book, this hardcover, like really nice, like book. Like it's a book.
It's a book.
It's not like a rule book, it's like a book.
It's a book. It's like an actual, like, sit down and read book.
But you don't sit down and read it.
No.
Because what's going to happen is, as you are exploring this map, it's going to reference certain locations. You're going to flip to that page in the book, and then, based off which campaign you're on, or which story you're on, you're going to get different information. And so you're roaming all over the board. You are using this book to tell you all the different information you need. There's also this kind of this movement idea. You're moving around the board as well, and if you want to go as fast as you can, it's going to cost you some strength. You're going to be exhausted. But you need that strength in order to fight off these different guards and nobles and different things going on. So it's got this little bit of this push your luck system going on, along with this bag building, as you're building up the items in this bag. It's got this obviously storytelling, this choose your own adventure system going on. So we're not going to teach you how to play the game in a normal way because, first of all, there's spoilers. It's kind of this exploration aspect of this game. Yeah. But also, right out of the gate, this game teaches you how to play. There's the rule book, but it says, don't read this rule book. Instead, set it up and turn to the page one.
Yeah. And it worked. It worked pretty well. I was a little worried at first when we played through that first game where they're teaching you all the rules because I was like, wow, I don't get to make any choices. This is going to be horrible. But no, it's just teaching you how to play the game. And it did a really effective job. I don't feel like we had to reference anything carrying on because that first gameplay where they're walking you through it made a lot of sense. So like Ryan referenced earlier, there is that book and there's these two ribbons that come with that book, a red ribbon and a gold ribbon. And you keep your place with that of what chapter you're playing. So there's stuff that you can reference, but not just that. The game, every character has a colored disc that's assigned to them. And then eventually in the game, there's going to be other colored discs that correspond with other things that are happening on the board. And what I think is really cool is how the colors correspond. So if you pull out a red disc, you're going to refer to that page, that bookmark, the red bookmark of what happens when a red disc gets pulled out. And then also as the game progresses, as you play other chapters, there's other red pieces that are going to interact. One of the cool things that happens is there's like these guards, and whenever you pull red, they like... you flip some and you unflip some. And then there's also like this purple disc for games later on. And there's a purple character on the board that's not one of the characters you're playing. And so it interacts with that. So I just thought it was really cool how it made it easier for you to know what was happening in the game because the red deals with the hope, which is one of the ways you can lose the game. And it deals with the time that's happening. And it deals with the guards. And that's all represented by the red. Whereas the purple is represented by the purple that's on there. And then your colors are your colors. So it really worked out.
I think that the way that the board is laid out, you have all these different things that you're going to be popping out and flipping over. Sometimes it'll ask you just to leave it alone, and then you might explore it later. Other times it might tell you to flip it over, and other times it might tell you to remove it entirely. So it's kind of three different settings, if you will, for each individual spot on the board, and there's a ton of them. I think that's very clever because, first of all, there's lots to explore. But second of all, because you're going through a ton of different missions, each time you go to one of those spots, or talk to a different person, or explore a different area of the board, it means something different. Sometimes it won't be available. Other times, it's going to give you some information. But next time you go through that same case, it might give you a different piece of information based off of the case that you're working on right then and there. So it gives us kind of this narrative, this story that's happening, that's evolving as the game goes on. And even to kind of add to that narrative, Bethany kind of hinted at sometimes there's going to be... In future missions, future stories, there's going to be this idea where things are going to kind of move around, but you don't have any pieces kind of moving them around. Instead, what you have is, okay, so this guard was here, we flip him down, and now a new guard flips up over here. But instead of having it be two guys that are appearing and disappearing, it almost is the narrative kind of feels like, okay, this guy moved over here, is what it feels like. And that really adds to that storytelling part of the game. It
is very story-driven. One game that I really, really loved with the story was Lord of the Rings. What was that?
Journeys to Middle-earth?
Yes, and so it involved an app to help you do the bookkeeping. So in this game, it's kind of similar, but the book does the bookkeeping. But so you're
Terrible.
interacting.
It's just terrible.
You're interacting with that same thing, and like Ryan said, some things are flipped over, so you're not going to be able to interact with all the board, and you don't want to. You have a limited time, so it's nice that the board kind of pushes you in a certain direction while you're still making the choices. But I love story-driven games where nothing is expected of me, where the story can happen without me needing to do anything. And this game, it did that. The story progressed. I was able to do things gameplay wise, but I didn't have to like be a character, and that's what I really like. So I can be this person, I can move around, and I can make choices, but I don't have to come up with the story. The story.
You don't have to give dialogue. You don't have
I don't
to
think of dialogue.
It's all in the book.
The story is already there for me, and so I love story-driven games that don't ask anything of me, and this game did that.
This is a full cooperative game. The players are working towards the same goal. However, we are individual characters.
Yeah.
I, as you can tell, am Little John. I am the physical embodiment of Little John. But there's also going to be Robin Hood himself, and Will Scarlet, and Miriam, and all these other characters. And so on your turn, some characters are going to be given certain tasks at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
They might be given some kind of...
like a certain mission.
This person needs to go to this place, or whatever the case is. So, quarterbacking is always a concern when you're playing a full cooperative game. And there's still, I guess, the chance for it. But really, your turn, when your disc gets pulled, you can control. You get the actions. You can decide where you want to go. You can decide what you're going to do, who you're going to talk to. Generally, you want to kind of advance the game. Obviously, advance whatever your character's goals are as well. And you might have some players who are like, hey, you should do this, you should do that. But you know what? Don't listen to them.
Just don't play with them.
in any game, you don't have to listen to those people.
Stop.
They might give you an idea. Maybe it's a good idea. Maybe you want to take advantage of that. But it's your turn. You do it. And there's even going to be later on maybe some opportunities for multiple people to take multiple turns at a time. So that's kind of nice as well. So kind of keep that in mind. There could be quarterbacking, but really you're in control when your disc gets pulled.
I am worried about flipping those tiles all the time, because it's not really a tile. It's like it's a board and it's a recessed piece. Kind of think of like a pop-up book. It's something kind of like that. And in the first game that we played, I was having trouble getting a piece up, and I already split the cardboard a little bit. So I just worry about that. So that's just something to keep in mind. You could potentially just not stuff it in there. Like if something flips, just kind of have it float and only stuff it in there in between gameplay. So that way you don't have to worry about putting it in, putting it up, putting it in, putting it up. Especially the tokens I worry the most about this are the guards and the nobles, because those are the ones that you're flipping and interacting with the most. Those are the ones that are changing almost every round. But that is something that you can do. You just don't put it back in there. Just like have it lay slightly, so that way you can just flip it back and forth.
Yeah, because it's going to get worn out eventually, Yeah. And this is a campaign style game. It's not a legacy style game. Nothing gets destroyed. So in theory, you could hand this off to someone else in the future, but eventually those are going to get worn out.
Yeah.
So just be aware of that. Try to keep it as intact as possible if you plan on playing it multiple times or whatever. All right, so overall, this is a really neat system. I mean, this is a choose-your-own-adventure style game with bag building. It's got push your luck. It's story-driven without any pressure, like Bethany mentioned.
Yeah.
This is a great game. It's got a great IP behind it. And it's a game that we have enjoyed the heck out of. Now, I will say, I don't think that I'm interested in playing through the campaign a second time.
Oh, okay.
It's one of those things where now that I've revealed all the information, I don't need to play it again.
Yeah.
There is the opportunity to keep on playing it. That is built into the rules, and you don't destroy anything. That being said, once through, it's super, super fun, and then I'm good to go. Pass it on to a friend, do whatever you want to do with that.
This game is exactly what I thought it would be, and I am pleasantly surprised. I guess I'm not surprised if it's what I wanted it to be, but you just never know. You hope. My hope has been fulfilled that this game was what I wanted it to be. It was a fun, story-driven game where I felt like I was able to do certain things. The game eliminated some options for you, not so you couldn't make choices, but so you didn't feel like you were just wandering around. There are games that Ryan had played where the world has been open like that, and we haven't been able to get the information we needed because there was too many options and too many choices. But this game, you can still do that, but it's kind of directed you in a certain direction while you were still able to make those choices. I had a lot of fun with this. If you like story-driven games, I would definitely check this one out.
Yes, thanks so much for watching, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
You guys, thanks so much for watching. This game was provided to us by a publisher in exchange for a fair and honest review.
And if you want to see more stuff, check out over here to see something we think you might like.
And over here, we think that YouTube has picked out a great video for you you're going to love. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.